Did you know there's 5 different styles of steelhead beads that you could be using on the water? And I bet you haven't even heard of 2 of these. So check this out. Steelhead season. We are right in the thick of the hatchery season for us here in the Northwest. Bead fishing at this time. We've had our high water events, we've had the pushes of fish. Now it starts getting kind of cold in the mid to late January and water gets a little lower. Bead fishing becomes a really great way to target these fish in the higher pressured areas as well as lower water conditions. Now let's dive to the table and I'm going to show you what these beads are. All right, here is what we're talking about and looking at. We have 5 specific beads that I like to run for steelhead and the types that you can find out in your local stores to go chase after. Now, can you see from just what I'm showing you, you know which ones all these are? Can you find the 2 that you may never have heard of before? Well, let's take a look and dive into each one. With starting first here on the left side, we have our acrylic regular hard bead, probably the staple OG for steelhead. Very easy to find, very easy to go locate different color options, whether you like to go shop at your craft stores for them, or if you like to go to your tackle shops, you're going to find things like trout beads. You're going to find a lot of different brands that have some really killer options and colors. You can naturally imitate everything from every stage of the egg itself all the way through custom colors that really get attention. Our second one is the soft bead. The good old newer age soft bead. These are really cool, right? You have the ability to imitate more of a natural egg in the feel. If a fish picks up one of these hard beads, they don't have much time to react to it, nor do you. So it's really easy for those fish to pick it up, realize it's not real, spit it right back out. But this gives you, with the soft bead, just a little bit longer. And that little bit longer may be the difference maker of you actually getting that fish hooked up. Now this third one, this is a glass bead. Yes, a glass bead, because this is something fun. It's a combination in many ways of utilizing a hard bead but having a little more weight added to it. That's a 10 mil size. The rest of these are 12s, but this 10 mil has a little bit more ability to sink quicker, and it has the ability too to help you out if you like fishing combination rigs with bait. I really like the glass beads, but there's one thing I will say, they are a little more fragile, so if you hit those on a rock, it's possible they might explode. So they really fish well in a lot of different ways, but you just have to be careful how rough you are on your gear. Now these last 2, this is where I bet you didn't recognize what these are. Now this one just looks like your standard hard bead, but it is not. This is actually a silicone bead. That silicone bead is almost a hybrid of these 2 together. Not new by any means. You can find these at craft stores. You can find these all over the place on the internet. But to me, I thought, hey, you know what? Not only is this really cool, I really hadn't thought about these for the application of fishing before, especially for steelhead. Here is a peach color that I think imitates a really good washed out egg color. I think you can get behind salmon and spawning steelhead and really do well on something like this. Now it's cool, again, it is squishy. This is not a hard plastic like this bead or overly soft like a soft bead. You're in the middle of that. So you can get the benefits of this bouncing around the rocks a little bit better than this does. But if you get a fish to pick it up, it's going to hold on to it a fraction longer and give you another step to be able to set the hook on. Our last little gem on the far right, can you guess what that is? Comment below if you know this before I say it. But this is a fully customized clay bead. A really, really cool, fully customized option. Looks like a molted egg, and it's really easy to make. So you can have an infinite supply of your own custom one-of-one beads that really, really work. This one actually has glow in the dark mixed in with that red. So I want to hear from you guys. Have you heard of all 5 of these before? Were these 2 surprises to you at all? Because we're going to dive into more on how to rig these up right now. But I really think this one is cool because I have a little contest to see if you guys can get this video to a certain amount of likes here in a little bit. And we are going to be able to show you a whole video on making your own custom clay beads in the next episode. All right, so how are we rigging and fishing each of these bead setups? I just did a short recently on comparing the hard bead to the soft bead, and I really kind of brushed on it, but I want to go in further detail of why I use them and why a lot of people pick them over the other. So starting with our hard bead, the staple of a lot of our gear, I like to just run, in most cases, a normal little rubber bobber stop. This just allows for a simple application. The bead is really easy to put in a position that you want. I like running size 10 millimeter and 12 millimeter beads, and I like to run a number 2 owner mosquito hook. Okay, you will find this guy right here is what I typically find myself reaching out and buying because it comes in a 51 pack for like 16 bucks. About enough you need for a whole season for the most part. And it's a quality hook. There's a lot of others out there, and I can do another video on bead hooks and sizes if you would like me to. But for the moment, we'll just cover the basis of number 2 fitting the size 10 and 12 millimeters very, very well. So I don't change anything different from that. Now, when you start talking hard beads, I said it matches up some really good natural colors. You can mix around the hot oranges, the pinks. You can combine the two. You can get the natural dead egg and peaches, all available in that and readily available is the big key. You can go to the big tackle stores and find trout beads and other brands right on the peg shelf. You don't need anything fancy to do with it. Or you can make your own. And that's another cool video that we can also work on for you guys too. Application wise and fishing, I love fishing a hard bead on a rig like a chandelier rig, which is like a split shot system, allowing this to parabolically fish near the bottom. I'll showcase it here in a demonstration illustration. And then I also, as my other way of fishing these, you guys may have seen this recently posted, but a dropper rig setup. When you tie off the bottom of a jig and be able to fish a bead like this, you're doubling your chances and getting, frankly, the maximized amount out of what these can do. These will fish near the bottom where those fish are going to lie, but that jig presents everything in that same zone, allowing that fish to choose a bead or a jig. So for me, I'm usually fishing one rod with it, and in this time of the year, I end up using hard beads quite a bit more and gives me some different abilities. Now our soft beads. This one has come more in the recent for me as experimentation. What I mean by that is it's hard to get away from something that works, right? The hard beads have always been a confidence booster for me. But when you start getting the ability with the soft beads to create any color in your imagination, any shade, any shape, any size, this becomes a new way to target these fish that sometimes they haven't seen. You can go anywhere from these 12 millimeters all the way up to over a 20 millimeter dang super bouncy ball size, and they work. Now again, what are some benefits? The soft bead has a real squishy natural feel. It's going to stay on in the fish's mouth longer when they bite on it, I run a different setup, not too much different, but I add that little sequin there just above the bobber stop. It allows you to end up saving more of your beads and not having any issues with that. Another rig recently been shown to me is the little pegged bead setup, where you pre-tie this little seed bead above the hook, 2 to 3 finger widths. This allows you to thread the bead up and over, and it'll be pegged right like that. So another way of doing it, it really is effective to rig it either way. I always like, just for security's sake, always having that sequin, because I know it's not going to fail and rip through on my bead. Now, how am I fishing soft beads now? Primarily, I bobber dog them. That is my favorite way of doing it, because you get a good presentation through the correct zone where these fish are going to lay. I really feel like bobber dogging with a soft bead lifts them up off the bottom just enough, and you're really pushing it right into those fish's face. Here's one with the hot spot dot built into the plastic, and again, as natural of a feel that those can end up being for the fish. So for me, soft beads, drift fishing, and bobber dogging. But what about something like a glass bead? Where does a glass bead come in to be better than a hard bead? And there might only be really one scenario where a glass bead really works better, and that might be to use in conjunction with some bait. If you like fishing eggs or sand shrimp and you don't want to have it weighted too heavily down by a bait weight or other things like that, then you can go with a glass bead and peg it, you know, 1.5 to 2 inches above, and give your bait loop with your bait an opportunity to have a hot spot to target, and then they'll see the bait below it and be able to chase after it. So glass beads have a place. They're pretty inexpensive for the most part, especially when you find them at craft stores. So it's something to have in your arsenal for those few times where maybe you just need a little bit extra weight to help get you down. Our silicone bead. Now, I'll be frank with you, I've only fished these 3 times since I came across them. They have them at the dollar store, they have them on Amazon, but to me, it just screamed something different. Something that gives that ability to maybe bounce a little bit better. Fishing a chandelier rig, rigged the same way as we did the regular hard bead, either pegged on this system or just a little bit of a bobber stop there. You have the ability, when you do get a bite, to have maybe a little bit more chance to hold on to that fish to detect it. So I'm going to fish that one the same exact way, potentially even under a dropper jig like I showed you earlier. But I feel like this may just be able to explore, maybe a little better suited for the chandelier rig, but they will definitely catch some fish for sure. Let me know what you think. Now lastly, our little custom clay dude. This guy, to me, is kind of the sleeper in this whole thing, because being able to customize and make your own beads, it's really the fun part of fishing, where you can be able to determine and really be the piece of your own success. Knowing you caught something on what you made is not, there isn't anything better of a feeling. This weighs pretty similar to just a regular bead. You can go a little bit bigger and they obviously will weigh a little bit more, but in that 10 to 12 millimeter range, it looks just like an acrylic bead. A little bit of a top coat to seal it off. I really think the benefit of this is that you have the ability to make your own. You have the ability to do whatever colors you want, and you have the ability to, frankly, not have to rely on big box stores or other people. You are your own manufacturer. That is a huge benefit. I would fish these exactly the same rigs. Chandelier rig, dropper setup, they will work phenomenally on all those that you would fish a normal bead on. But I want to challenge you with this. If you guys can share this video and get it to 150 likes within 24 hours, and I really mean it, I will go out and show you exactly how you can make an unlimited supply of your own clay beads and go chase some trophy steelhead in your region all on your own. But we do have to hit that mark and see if you guys are willing to accept that challenge. So comment below, challenge accepted, and let's get this video to 150 likes. I'll put together that video of how to make your own, and we'll go then challenge to get them on the water and go catch a fish, and I'll give some away. So what do you guys think? Are you fishing these 5 options? Are you getting out on the water right now, chasing your own fish? Comment where you're fishing at. Let me know what you think. Sure appreciate you guys as always, and we'll catch you on the water. Tight lines and fish on. Gotta love when it all happens.